Hello, I'm Danny, and welcome to Not Another Leeds podcast with me, Danny, like I just said. And today's podcast, we have Evie. Hello, Evie. How are we today?
Hello. Good, good. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, TGIF. Evie has just mm, done what happened? Should we tell people what happened yesterday, Evie, with the pizza debacle? You know, you've had an ongoing local branch in a major company, and I think is it resolved now?
Well, I didn't go. I got my husband to go and pick it up so that
Oh,
they
okay.
wouldn't throw me out and things. So yeah, it was satisfying for the fact that I got them, but I'm disappointed that I have to go to these lengths in order to get
Yeah.
what I
Uh,
need,
and I
which is
An eyewitness said that you were angrier than a gnome with a yo-yo. Is that true? Were you that angry?
They're angry.
yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's the whole short person, angry,
yeah.
angry
For
short
those
person.
people, for those people who are befuddled and looking at the screen confused, basically Evie got some meatballs on a pizza last night and she put it on online, and the hashtag meatballgate is now done. And my other guest tonight is Ger, the only Irishman to warm my warm black heart. Hello, Ger. How are we today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Good.
good, mate. I'm
Everyone
good.
good?
I'm not gonna lie. I am nervous.
I said it before we
Uh,
go live. I can feel it in my tum tum tonight. I'm feeling it right there.
yeah,
Shouldn't have
in the
eaten.
tum tum. Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully, I'm shaking. I'm shaking
Yeah.
like a shitting dog. Anyway, so let's go back to the Plymouth game, right? But it will be a shorter episode tonight because obviously we are playing at 8 o'clock, and I probably need to go for a nervous poo before. So we'll go all the way back to Plymouth last week. Joe, what's your whole thoughts about the game, mate? Apart from Poseidon himself seems to live in Plymouth.
Doesn't he? Yeah, it's always wet down there. I was always told like Plymouth was a lovely part of the country where the weather was always nice. I haven't seen that yet. All I've seen, well, I'd like to say I've seen bad weather, but you can't see anything with the weather, can you? It's just this like grey haze that's over the entire pitch and seems to be there permanently. But um, everyone said it. Professional performance. I don't think it was our best performance. First half very good, second half not so much, but job done. Got the job done. Did what we needed to do. We're looking very solid at the back. Need to be the same that way tonight. But yeah, the Pirro Jorginho conversation will pop its head up, I'm sure, again after last week. That swap that seemed to work this time. I think we all had a little bit of a hang on, Pirro's back in the 10 and Georgie's back in the 9. What's happening? But it worked. And
Mhm.
that's all that matters. So yeah, look, a professional performance, another clean sheet. That's all that matters. We push on, but yeah, it's good to get those kind of games just out of the way. I'm sick of Plymouth at this stage now. I think I've seen enough of them.
I think they're sick of us, mate, just going down there and just bouncing them about the place. I'm sure if it rains anymore, I'm sure the local residents of Plymouth will grow gills because we'll just be underwater in the next couple of years if it keeps raining
I
like
think
that.
I've heard they're building an ark down there just in case. You know, there's something biblical stuff going on down there. I did, I
Uh,
did, I did, I did miss Don Goodman on commentary for a while. Haven't listened to the other two plebs for a while. I did miss listening to the dulcet tones of Don Goodman talking absolute crap, um, telling us all that Chris Somerville tried to force a move away from Leeds United in the summer. Which are you sure
uh,
about that, Don? Do you want to fact check that one?
mm.
But yeah, absolute nonsense, usual from Sky Sports. But yeah.
Don Goodman licks the boots of anyone that tramples on the Leeds United name. I just can't stand the bloke. He's from Leeds, isn't he, as well?
He tries to claim he's a
Yeah.
Leeds fan, and then he's like,
He's
he was rejected by Leeds, or his kids were rejected by Leeds, or something. And just he either he's overcompensating for being a really passionate Leeds fan to the point where it just sounds like he could be any other supporter in the country and not Leeds fan, or he genuinely hates Leeds because it never comes across that he likes Leeds ever. At no point have I ever believed he was a fan of Leeds United.
yeah. Welcome to, if you just joined us, welcome to the We Hate Don Goodman podcast. And we are going to say how we hate Don Goodman for the next 20 minutes.
Next hour.
Evie, just to get your thoughts on the Plymouth game.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of cheated because I didn't watch it live. I was in London at the time, so I watched it with kind of the lack of jeopardy and already knowing the fact that we won. So I was a little bit more. I saw that there was a lot of criticism for Rutter, even though obviously he got a goal and an assist, that it was probably one of his weakest games. And I can see where people were coming from, but obviously I saw it afterwards, so I kind of knew the fact that he was going to score and get a goal, score and get an assist. So Yeah, I think what Joe said's right. It was a professional. We just did what we had to do. It was the fourth time that we met them, so it's not like we didn't. It's kind of like we're old friends by this point. Playing. It although it's the first game this season that we didn't concede a goal, so we did better than we had done in the previous 3 times that we've met them this season. But we just did what, I think they'd just given up kind of thing. Although in the second half, they did come out fighting a bit, which was, bless them. But it was, yeah, I know. It's like, oh, you're cute. But yeah, they don't have the same quality that we do. And even though our team probably were a bit on an off day, we got the job done, and that's all that that we needed to do. And I think it was probably because like just like you've said, with Pirro and Rutter going back to the the dreaded 10 and 9 situation, but it kind of worked this time because he just seemed to be getting bullied out of the game, which is unusual for Jorginho. And I think that ability to swap it up now works in our favour, because now everybody's expecting Jorginho in the 10. The fact that they spent so many months agonisingly playing in, the opposite positions now kind of works in our favour, because we have beaten teams with Rutter in the 9 and Pirro in the 10. So, and in fact, we beat Leicester last time with, them in those positions. So, yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to play them, at least. Well, definitely not for the rest of the season, and hopefully not for a long time.
Never again, hopefully.
Oh yeah, hopefully. I just can't. I mean, fair play to all the fans that went
fixture,
there.
though, isn't it, Danny? It's a real Champo fixture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leeds v Plymouth on a Tuesday night somewhere. Like, it stinks of Championship, doesn't it? Never again.
12. It's mad, mate. I don't know how the league get away with it. It's like if we could play like Brisbane Raw, whatever they're called, and they'd put it on a Monday morning for some reason. Do you know what I mean?
7
That's how rubbish. Yeah, 7 a.m. English time. Yeah. So let's talk about the Nonto goal, right? I've been devil's advocate all week. I don't think Rutter meant that. He's just oofed it, right? I'm probably going to get, strongly worded letters, DMs for this. But Evie, I'll start with you. Did Rutter mean it, and what do you think to the Nonto goal? Did Nonto get fortunate with his touch? That is what I'm saying.
Right. 2 things. First of all, if it was any other player, then I would 100% agree with you that was a fluke of a pass. But because Jorginho's arms and legs move independently of one another, and he's just this kind of like giraffe, then I think that was meant, because it just doesn't make sense. So for me, the fact that he doesn't make sense, that pass doesn't make sense, it makes sense, because it's like a double negative makes a positive. So for me, he fully meant that pass. And I think Nonto meant the control, but he miscontrolled the meant control, if that makes any sort of sense. I think his idea was there, but
He's in my brain hurts.
I think he meant what he did, but I don't think it came out as he had pictured it in his head, but it still managed to work.
I feel like I need to get an abacus out and just work out what you.
The short answer, yes, he meant the touch.
Yeah.
Take the number of touches, divide it by the number of players, and then multiply it by your favorite shade of blue, and then that's your answer.
Yeah. And then you need to underline divided by wind and rain resistance and what colour hot dog he had that morning or something. I don't know. But I mean, do you get different types of coloured hot dogs? I don't know. Anyway, that's for Ger to answer.
I was in Warsaw for a game once, and I had this weird vegetarian boiled hot doggy type thing, which was kind of an off yellow color, so not the normal hot dog color. But it was awful looking. They called it hot
yellow.
dog.
Were it like last season's kit?
It was like a mix of what you've got onion there, but a little bit darker, but not quite in a banana yellow. That kind of mixy bit in the middle. But yeah,
was it still moving? Was it still moving?
I don't think it was ever alive. I think it was just whatever they found on the ground and mangled together with a couple of wrappers. Just stuck it in between two bits of bread.
They found it in a radioactive can.
This will do. There we go.
Yeah.
I agree with Evie. I think at least one part of Georgina Rutter's body meant that pass. At least one. Don't know which bit, but at least one of them did. And but I also think to be serious for a sec. I think he knew there was going to be somebody in that area, and it was a case of just putting the ball into an area and then let them do the rest. But Nonto kind of gambled and cheated a little bit and pushed on a bit higher, put the defender back on his heels. I think Nonto meant to fake to put it over his head, but knock it down underneath him, which he did. Mm-hmm. But I do think he miscontrolled it. And then this shot was kind of, it doesn't really matter how much contact I get on this ball, just put it back that way. Just put it back the opposite way to the goalkeeper, and he just kind of tops in and goes in. You've seen lots of players. I always say, you ever see a player just do a set? Do you remember Stephen Warnock, when he scored the free kick against, was it Yeovil? Or might have been Plymouth, actually.
Yeah.
Yeovil. And he just stood there with his hand in the air like that, and like, you didn't mean it. Anyone who celebrates like that doesn't mean it. There was a complete fluke. And you've seen loads of players over the years smack these crackers in from distance and then just go, you're like, you didn't mean that, did you? But you meant to put it towards the goal.
Guilty.
And I think
guilty.
Yeah. I think Nonto
we've all had a few.
I think he was like, I meant to put it towards that part of the goal. Not exactly where it is and not exactly the execution I wanted, but in the right area, and it goes in the back of the net. But Georgie was a strange one for me, because I did think it was probably one of his poorer games that he's played for. Not to say that he had a bad game necessarily, but his standard's been so high this year that any kind of a drop, you kind of notice it, and the ball was pinging off of him. And I think that's because they were marking him incredibly tight. They were right up around him. So every time the ball came to him, there was nearly a little push on him, so the ball bounced, hit him, and run away from him a little bit. And we saw probably earlier in the season where not just Georgie, but a couple of other players kind of got bullied out of the game and kicked it against Blackburn early in the season was a prime example of it as well. They just got kicked up and down the park. And I think they did that with him. But then the smart move to swap Pirro in there, and then they didn't really know what to do because they were man marking him. And then when he goes 5 yards higher, does that player stay with him and drop into the defence, or does he leave him and stay in the middle of the park? And I think that caused a bit of frustration and confusion. And then that's where Pirro picks up that huge amount of space when he gets in there. So Pirro's touch for me always tends to be worse the deeper he gets. The closer he is to the goal, the better his touch is. The further away from the goal he gets, the more I think he's unsure of himself. But it worked, and the big thing for me is that it's the same with Archie Gray. I said this earlier in the week. Archie Gray against Preston, against Liam Miller. The first game, he really struggled. The second game, he'd adapted, knew what he was going to expect, had him in his pocket, and that shows growth in the players. And I think you saw Pirro and Rutter start to really understand that role probably a little bit better, and hopefully we see it tonight then as well. But as Evie said, she's bang on. The fact that we can change now in the middle of the game will upset teams as well and upset their balance, because if they go out with a dedicated man marking system, like you man marking Georgina Rudder, if he goes to the toilet, make sure you're standing over his shoulder, like wherever he goes, you go. I think that will cause problems today if they decide to swap.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to shout out Ellis from Derby Days. He was on a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I actually put a shot out on our Instagram, and he says, if you look at Nonto, I'm paraphrasing here, Ellis, you know what's coming. And he says, you look at Nonto, when he shoots with his left, it's absolutely bleep, 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 and he's rubbish. And since then, he's scored, was it 3 goals with his left leg now? 3 or 4 goals now. So cheers, Ellis, for that. And I'm never going to not say that anymore. So shout out to you.
It's the Jackie Harrison one, isn't it? Of people going, oh, well, he's playing badly because he's playing on the wrong side. Play him on the other side. Play him on the other side. Then you play him on the other side and you get the exact same performance out of him. Willie Nonto, it's been put him on the left, put him on the left. All the goals he scored have come from coming in from the right and then putting it back from the left-hand side. So,
Jack Harrison's first touch, you know, he's absolute pillow feet. I could cannonball off top of Ellen Road and he'd bring me down nice and gentle like a little baby. Let's get into some comments then before we go talk about the other goal. There's a lot of nervous people tonight. Bamford scores the winner off the bench tonight. We'll talk about that soon, Matt. 3-1 Leeds. Glad they didn't update on the white. I think it means on the thing. Here we go. Here's a good one. I've been trying to distract myself all day. Nerves are gone. Skirting birds are sparkling though. That's good. Jay's from Ought Know Better's here. Hey Jay, have a pint for me, sir. The first goal is massive. Yeah, we'll talk about that soon. There's some more things. Jay has also said Rutter just a passenger in his own body. I think that's going on to the baby giraffe comment that you made there, Evie. So I mean, you said that you mentioned it, Evie, that in the second half, they came out a different animal. I mean, I thought we don't, Joe, I saw some of your tweets as well. The first half, it was sloppy, which it was. As soon as I saw Kamara's misplaced pass, I thought, ooh. And then there was another one. And then there's another one. And then we just seemed to let it slip a little bit. But I thought we still dominated the half. Even like when we came out the second half, they were just more. Do you think we were just. We have this tendency in some games just to sit back because, all right, the game's won. Do you think they came out and saw that bit of weakness?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, up until that game, they'd scored against us in every game, so they knew that we could be got at, and we had done, especially in the second half of the first game that we played at Ellen Road against them, where they got that goal. And then for the last 10 minutes, it was very kind of squeaky bum time. And then obviously they'd taken us to a replay where we'd scored early, and then they'd got a late goal. And then we were winning 1-0 in the replay, and then they got a late goal. So it was kind of, it's been a pattern. So they weren't being kind of optimistic. They were kind of, if you're judging things of the balance of possibilities, it's a very logical thing for them to do, in the fact that they've done it before, and they were, would have been happy with a point, because a point against us is a very good point. So I think, but we were just so structured at the back, and there was just no, they were limited. So I think they have one shot on target all game. So we're conceding the least amount of XG in the game, and yet our defenders never get in the EFL's team of the week or the Championship's team of the week.
Yeah.
It's no idea how you can have the most clean sheets in the league and not once have any of our defenders been in the team of the week. But yeah, I think we just gave them that kind of the hope. And as we all know, with Leeds United, it's the hope that kills you. And, obviously that's when Rutter then went and killed their hope, which was nice to see, because previously they have kind of killed our hope of going straight through to, we had to not only play a replay, but we then had to go to extra time. So, within 2 weeks, they'd held us to a draw at full time. So I don't think it was out of the realms of possibility for them to do it a third time in a month. But, we got the job done. And I think that's probably the best thing to just say about that game is we got the job done. It wasn't pretty, but before Christmas, and specifically in December, we go on and we drop points in that game before December. So, let's take the positives. We got the 3 points on the board. So, yeah, I just think that the second half we need to. And the good thing is so far in games, taking the Southampton game out of the equation, but in any big game, i.e. Ipswich and Leicester, we haven't let it go. We haven't gone all Elsa. We've stayed for like the full 90 minutes. And I had to bring a bit of Disney in there. But
typical.
But we stayed with them the whole time. We didn't let it drop, and I have faith that we can do that, but it doesn't mean that I'm still not incredibly nervous tonight.
Yeah. I have to bring before I come on to you, Joe. I have to bring this comment up because it says, if we win the league, Danny, I dare you to get a body wax for charity. Mate, if we win the league, I will do it 40-year-old virgin style. I won't get it all done. I'll get like a smiley face and I'll live stream it. If we go
Man a lantern.
Yeah. I'll get LUFC if you want. I'll let you pick whatever you want. Can I get all done? I look like a baby hippo though, but there you go. Right, sorry, Joe. I just needed to address that because I'm hoping the universe does its thing because I'm willing to have a little bit of pain. So, Joe, going on to Rutter's goal. You say that like when Perrault dropped deep, his touch would a bit there, but then what a pass into Rutter, and then Rutter finishes because I thought Rutter. You probably saw my meme that I put out saying with a Chinese beaver. Check out Instagram if you don't.
I did see it.
If you don't get it. if you check out his Instagram and you'll see what I mean. Because I for one were like, just take Rutter off, because he kept losing the ball, miscontrolling it, and then he was doing that thing where he backs into the player, doesn't get the foul, but try and plays for the foul. Now, what were your thoughts at that point? Just before, I mean,
Similar.
did you want Rutter off? And
Yeah.
a go.
Yeah, and like, again, it's like it's the overreaction to comments being made as well. Like, it's in that moment you're looking at going, it's just not his day today. Take him out of it, put someone else in, put Joseph in, put someone else in, see if he can get a crack at it. We're still winning the game 1-0. We were defending really, really well. Probably still going to win the game anyway. But it wasn't working up till that point. I mean, again, I keep saying this word because it's my favorite word at the moment. Revisionism kicks in at the 97th minute when the game is over. All of a sudden, you people going, yeah, see, look, Rutter, y'all wanted Rutter off. Going, yeah, but that in the context of when at that moment, I don't think there's anybody who wouldn't have said he's not having a great game, except for Don Goldman, who gave him man of the match, and the lads who picked the EFL team of the week could put him in the team of the week because 1 assist, 1 goal. It's not the entirety of how he actually played in the game, but the other thing about it is he does take a huge amount of attention away from everybody else by being there, because he does draw players to him to man mark him and to try and get the ball off, and because of how he plays. So that does create gaps in space for other people. But I won't lie, when I saw this swap happen, I was like, oh, we're doing this then. Okay. And that kind of through my head for a fair bit, and I was like, I can't watch this. And then it's a beautiful ball by Piero. And the big thing about this is the pass has to be right. The pass has got to be in front of him and weighted so that he doesn't have to check his run. If he checks his run, the defender has to get back in front. There was a lot of times, and I've seen people watching games of, even when they check the run back, me and Lockie were talking about this during the week, and they check the run back and go, oh no, he's still in. No, because by the time he's checked the run to get the ball, the defenders have got pace, they've got him back behind, move is dead. The ball has to be perfect, and it is. It's a perfect ball, just enough around the outside of the midfielder that it goes straight in front of him, and then, the right way to that Rutter doesn't have to check the run and can run through on goal, and then it's pretty much a smash through their legs. Keeper doesn't really see it, but it was enough. And again, it's as Evie said, before Christmas, we probably don't win that game. We probably end up getting a 1-1 draw. They nick it late or something silly happens. So, it's been able to win these games is huge, because this is why the gap is there. Because Leeds didn't navigate these games in the first half of the season particularly well. This is why there's a gap, because against the top sides, Leeds have been excellent this season. So I keep saying it, the teams that have come out and had a go at Leeds, we've won comfortably. The teams that sit back and try and soak it up, less so. And we saw that with the not the Swansea game, where they were like, yeah, we'll have a go at you. And what are you doing? Have you not got the memo? You sit back and you stay tight and you hope for a set piece. What are you doing coming out and playing against us? We're going to kill you.
That back line was just football suicide, wasn't it? It was just crazy. I just couldn't believe it.
Let's just keep going forward. Like, why? Because you're not laying a glove on us, and every time we win the ball, we're picking you off and scoring. So, like, you need to stop doing that. But
yeah.
Plymouth have a bit of both. Plymouth like to have a bit of a go. I actually quite like their manager, Ian Foster. I think he's a brave kind of manager. He's not intimidated by opposition, and he's got a couple of decent players. They're bigger players for me. Nick Whitaker for me hasn't shown anything this year against us to be the level that he is. He's one of the top goal scorers in the league, but against us, outside of probably a half an hour in the first game we played them, I haven't seen anything. I actually think Ash, what's his name, the defender, Ash Phillips. Yeah, pretty decent defender. Quite like, very good. Their winger, again, I think he's a Miller as well. Was really good against us as well. Decent player. They've got some nice players, and he's a brave coach. And he plays brave football, and I like that about him. But like I said, I'm just glad to see the back of them now. Rutter's done his job, got his goal. Leeds have dug it out when they needed to dig it out. We do have that 20-minute drop off in games still in our locker. We've seen it less since the turn of the year, but it did pop in against Plymouth. And I think the thing about this is bad teams will drag you down. Then they can drag you down to their level. And they did.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times, haven't we? Where like Stoke, one that sticks out to me, where they just absolutely dragged us down. But overall, I think, like you say, you both said it was a professional win, and glad we don't have to stick around the pirate ginster bothering buggers. Anyway, right. So let's move on to our little guess the player. So if you're new here, brace yourself. So what we do is I put up a picture of a player with a question mark over their head, and you have to guess what that player or who that player is, should I say. And you get 5 seconds. So I want to see everyone's comments in the live chat, who you think this player is. Now, here we go. So if I put this up, so who do you think this player is? And I'll give you a clue. He's played for Neil Warnock, Tony Mowbray, Tony Pulis, and that's it. So who do you think that is? You could say the older generation.
I mean, it looks like Duncan Ferguson.
Well,
But
is that your guess?
no, it's probably Harry
Evie's
Potter.
like, Evie's like, what country's Everton in again? Well, if it depends which Scouser you ask, because they don't think they're English, but you are. Geography. So I'll put it up one more time. You got 5 seconds, Evie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who do you think it is? In the comments we go. Let's have a look. Here we go. It's my friend I work with. I'm going to guess Danny's hairline. Joke's on you because
Never seen it.
you're fat. Exactly. And nobody will. Ignore him. It
Mine's back
looks
here
like
somewhere.
my friend James. He looks like an Easter egg with arms and legs. Never mind him. Right. So, who do you think it
I'm
is,
going
Evie?
for Daniel Craig.
Daniel
I'm-
Craig.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for Spyro the Dragon.
Oh, Spyro the Dragon. Oh, well, as you
I
can
think he played
tell,
for Neil Warnock
right,
once.
I tell you what, Joe, shot across the bow of that, because as you can tell, he's Tony Pulis, Warnock. It's a T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Oh, so close!
Oh,
close.
so close.
You know, dinosaur football.
The grown-up
I tell you
version of
what.
Spyro.
Yeah, his cousin. Dinosaur. Yeah, so that's a silly bit. Sorry, have I ever lost subscribers? Anyway, same joke every week. Hits home. Right, we'll talk about the Leicester game. I'm more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Now, Joe, I know you.
Yeah.
You know, like the British used to wear red because when they got shot, they wouldn't see the
Red
blood.
clothes.
Have you got your brown pants on?
I wore brown pants today. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I can see that joke coming. Yeah, or brown pants.
Boom.
Yeah.
What's your
wore
vibe,
brown
mate?
pants.
This guy.
It's weird because I'm in two minds, and I always am. Every game, and then I always end up going 2-1 Leeds because the pessimistic standard Leeds United, Leeds United score. I'm in 1-1 territory or a 3-1 Leeds batter them. Because of Maresca's comments. So I would like us to shut Maresca up. I thought his comments this week were silly, immature, but then his comments after Leeds beat them in their place, as was Joe described it as the Gary Lineker Walker Stadium, or whatever it's called this week. His comments after that were childish as well. I'm very, very petty. You know, the AliExpress Pep Guardiola can I would like to see it shove him down his throat.
Just to jump in there, then, mate. Do you think he's starting to, a little crack there of pressure? Do you think? Yeah.
I mean, if someone says to you like, "Are you nervous?" You go, "No, not nervous." Like, "Oh, you're protesting a lot, aren't you?" Like, you probably are a little bit nervous. The fact that he was like, "Oh, it's not a big game for us, it's a big game for them." It's like, dude, it is. It is, because you win this game, you've probably got the title locked down. So don't tell me it's not a big game. The fact that all of their players are on Instagram today going, "Big game Friday, big game Friday." Like, your players are telling us it's a big game, so you're saying something different behind the scenes. And I think he's probably trying to take the pressure off of his players, but I think that's probably put more pressure on him, because if anything, he's fueled an Elland Road crowd that's going to be pretty loud anyway, to be on their back. And if we score early, I really want a camera on him for the rest of the game to see how he behaves himself on the sideline, how wound up he gets by this. But yeah, I'm in two minds. I think it's either going to be a game where we both kind of cancel each other out and it goes 1-1. I keep saying poker as the analogy I've been using all week, because Leicester have a certain way of playing in recent weeks where they are slow building up, but when they do counterattack, they counterattack with a lot of players and they attack really quickly wide. Leeds do the same. And you're thinking, who's going to change their style to cancel out the other team? Or is it going to be up and down the park all, which I don't think it will be. So I don't think Farke changes. He's been unbeaten in Elland Road. It's our fortress. They'll know that coming in. There'll be a little bit of pressure on them. They'll have to do better than they did in the first game. That will definitely be part of his team talk, that we don't let happen what happened in the first game against Leeds. And I think that will put a few nerves about them. Hopefully Leeds players aren't nervous. I keep saying it. I don't think this is a must-win game. I really don't. I think it's a must-not-lose game because Southampton have to play Leicester and Southampton have to play Ipswich. And then Ipswich have the pressure of going, you're playing 7 of the bottom 8 teams in your current run. Don't drop any points. Don't. Because if you do, you're done. So I think that's a different kind of pressure on Ipswich to try and catch up at this point of the season, knowing the games are running out. He can say it's not a big game, but the 12th of January, they were 17 points ahead of Leeds. And by the end of February, it could be 6. And that's a massive thing to pull back in. So don't tell me this isn't a big game. You can say it all you want, but everyone knows differently. And it may be a big game for Leeds as well, because it does bring us back to 6 points. And the league's wide open. They drop points to Southampton. They drop points to anybody else. Then at that point, game on. I still think Leeds will drop points towards the back end of the season. I still think Southampton will drop more points. I think Leicester will drop more points. No one is going unbeaten until the end of the season. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think they will. I think you'll have a couple of draws thrown in there as well. But as long as we can score early, put this to bed, and then the pressure's really on them. And don't drop off. This 20-minute drop off in the middle of the game. Just stop doing that. Stay on top of them.
Yep. Just put them to the sword. That's what we need to do. Evie, are you nervous? I don't know. I don't have a little metaphor or an analogy for you, but how nervous are you?
I'm nervous, but I'm trying to let my kind of sensible logic head control my emotions right now, because obviously it was a silly thing, like Joe, you said, for Maresca to come out and say that. It's very petulant, and to me, it's giving me Frank Lampard kind of vibes of when everything was going wrong at Everton. It was the players weren't doing, this for me, and the players this, and it was never on him. So for as much as you can say he was protecting his players by saying silly comments, he's inadvertently done the exact opposite. Like, we know from the last 2 years how toxic Ellen Road can be, but in a negative way. We're on an 8, we've won 8 league games. We're unbeaten in this calendar year. So Ellen Road is going to be toxic, but in a good way, like a Britney Spears style kind of, toxic way. And it's going to be loud. It's going to be a cauldron. It's going to be intimidating. We now have gone from a team that we pretty much loathed last season to a team that gets us excited and we adore, and that if they do have a bad game, they somehow still, contribute in a meaningful way. So we are in a really good place, and if we get a draw, we get a draw. I don't want us to get a loss, but if we thump Leicester, it's going to go, for me, one of 2 ways. Either they're going to start doubting themselves, or the next team, like, they're going to thump Southampton. So it's going to, they're either going to use it as kind of ammunition, and I think they went on a 9 winning streak after we beat them, or after Middlesbrough beat them. I think they went on like 9 games where they won 9 on the spin. I can't quite remember that. I can't remember whether that came before or whether that came after us.
After Borough, they lost to Borough then. I got points to Borough then.
And then So it would be. I still think. I don't think we've got to be fearful, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous, and it's like this time last year we were all nervous watching games because we were slipping further and further down the table, whereas this time I'm nervous because we're going further and further up the table. And if we beat Leicester for the first time this season, there is genuinely a chance we could get the title, and that makes me really nervous, because like it's there, it's within touching distance, and
in it,
like, we haven't been this close for most of the season. Ipswich have, Southampton have, but we've always been the kind of the outsider, and then we were in 3rd place for ages, and then Southampton came in and overtook us. So it's the nerves of hope rather than the nerves of dread this year that are getting to me, and that's all I can say, really.
Going on to the Leeds lineup, it's business as usual. I don't think there's any changes apart from Pirot instead of Bamford. Now the Leicester lineup is Hermanson, Chowdhury, Fage. Am I saying that right? I think Vestergaard, Justin, Ricardo, Winks, Dewsbury Hall, Fatawu, Mavididi, and Daka. Now, them last three names. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Leicester fans are saying that Daka is their preferred choice. But what I'm happy about is that there's no Vardy in the squad at all.
At all?
Now, at all, no. Unless my eyes deceive me.
He's
No
been on
Vardy,
fire
no.
off the bench for him.
Yeah, unless he's picked up a knock or
big.
something. What, Gary? What do you mean?
He's injured. Matt said he's injured. Thanks,
Oh,
Matt.
sorry, my producer Gary's in me. What do you mean you've ordered food? What do you mean the sponsor? Oh, sorry, I've got a roll. Sorry, are you hungry, Evie? Because apparently I've got a roll
Always
this
starving.
VT. Right, here you go. Well, VT.
McJess's Food Shack. Wings not included. Order your celebrated moments now. Warning may come with USMNT accounts.
You have been warned. You have been warned.
Fantastic.
That was
So
perfect.
if you are
That out as
hungry,
a short on its own, mate, please. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
only
No
if you
wings
retweet
included.
it. Only if you retweet. Everybody,
I absolutely will.
make sure you like this because it's.
That's great.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So. Just
I think
a little
also,
bit of
just
news.
to say real quick, I think we've now found a bond with Nottingham Forest fans all of a sudden because the USMNT accounts have all gone after them for
Yes.
Gio Reyna. Like,
Yes, right. I've only just shook some of these accounts off, and this podcast for people who have just joined is less than a year old. And I think I put a tweet out something about what I'm like with memes and stuff like that. I think I called Tyler Adams Captain Fatso or something like that, or McKenny, you know what I mean. I've only just shook them off. But they'll coming back for me. But I actually put a tweet out the other day saying thoughts with Nottingham Forest fans, and they came back for me. So I'm back on the radar. I've got a target on me back once more. Right, we are pressing for time, so we will go on to predictions. And Joe, what's your prediction for tonight? Will it into the universe?
2-0. It's our stats told me that if we win tonight, it's the 2000th win in the club's history. So 2-0.
Wow.
Leeds.
Yeah. Evie?
I'm going to go 1-0
To who?
Again.
to us.
No, that's all right then. I'll let you off then. So I will go. I think it'll be a tight 1-0 again, and I think Pirro will score. I think personally. Now, obviously we are pressed for time, so now we have a question. In fact, no, sorry. Top knob. And what we do here is somebody that's annoyed us throughout the week, we put into the middle and we nominate and vote. I have the deciding vote, whoever is this week's top knob. So let's get into this week's top knob.
Top knob.
Best jingles in the game. Right, Evie, let's come to you first. Who has annoyed you and who is your top knob?
Maresca. Just because I think he was a petulant child, and Daniel Farke has been incredibly respectful of every single manager and team that we have played this season, whether it was Rotherham, whether it was Sheff Wednesday, whether it was Leicester. And I don't think, well, he's proving that even though you were coached by Pep, you can't buy class. So that's,
I agree.
I don't like it when people, it's just childish, like, my dad's stronger than your dad. Well, this game's not important to us, but it's important to you. It's
it seems like
stupid, and hopefully we'll come back to haunt him.
Yeah,
he's trying to shake the pressure off for me. I think he's just starting to. There's something not right there. Anyway, I'm not a psychologist. Sigmund Danny.
Well, you can tell that he's never managed a game at Ellen Road before, because that's just pouring a load of petrol onto the fire at Ellen Road tonight. That's
team talk done.
The chance that you're going to have, if we win tonight, the chance that Maresca is going to have at him in Ellen Road, I'd love to be there. Absolutely love it.
I do think that no matter the score tonight, I don't think it's, even if we do lose, which we're not gonna, not touch wood, it's not over for us anyway. Jer, who's your top knob, mate?
I was going to say Gary Weaver and Don Goodman as a combo because I'm absolutely sick of Gary Weaver's inside jokes and his crap on the commentary team. He thinks he's hilarious and he's really not. He just keeps telling the other commentary person, "Oh, remember when you were crap?" I hate him. But I agree. I think Maresca. I think I'm going to show my age here. A Kevin Keegan moment, as Evie just said. I will love it love it if we
Yeah.
beat you.
Yeah.
He's made it that way because I quite like a lot of Leicester fans. I quite like Leicester as a club. I've never had a problem with Leicester. I think they're a good club. I like their fans. I think they're good fans in general. They're quite good fans. And they tend to be quite balanced fans as well. And then there's Maresca, who, as Evie said, hasn't an ounce of class in his body. And also, if this league title means so much to him, enjoy it. Because this time next year, even if you do go up, you won't be there. Because they will struggle with him in
100%.
charge of the Premier League. And he will move on, as he has done in Italy when he was there and struggled there. You know, this is your peak, Maresca. Enjoy it. I think Daniel Farke is a class act in comparison. We saw it as well. Arne Slot talking about Chris Somerville and wanting Chris Somerville in his team next year, where Daniel Farke said, I don't talk about other teams' players out of respect, and I hope that they don't talk about mine. And again, he's talked about this game. He's talked about the positives of Leicester. He's been very classy and respectful about Leicester. And then Maresca comes out with his, and it's just, as Evie said, like, yeah, I like space. My dad's been to the moon. My dad owns the moon. You know, that crap. So it's 100%. Evie's bang on the money. It's 100% what he's being.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, get down now. Get to the chopper. Go Higgin. Give these people air now. Sorry, that's. I also do children's parties. Magic. Anyway, so
that's all I saw when he did it was just a child going, I'm not nervous, as sweat starts to pour down the side of his head. Yeah, I wasn't maybe partners leaving.
There you go, Matt. It's 2:40 p.m. here. Tell us where you are, mate. Is it too early for a beer to settle the nerves, mate? Get on the whiskey.
No.
Get on the whiskey.
Hard.
Yeah, I will agree, and I will say Maresca is, and I'll agree with both. But there is an honourable mention from John here, the Huddersfield manager. I think he's just trying to.
What was that about?
I think he's just trying to get brownie points for the Huddersfield.
Or be relevant.
Fans. Yeah. Like, I know we're playing next week, but you know what I mean? Rough. Right. So if you are, I say it every time. Jokes. Aren't they great? So what we do now, we're coming to the end of the podcast now, because it is a short one, as we are playing at 8 o'clock, and I know people need to get away. I know that Ger's got to practice his ping pong, and Evie has got to practice her darts because she's entering the tournament soon. Is that right? Yes,
Yeah.
That's right. Play along. Thank you. Right. So what we do now is I've built a supercomputer, and it's called the NALP 3000. And what it does, it generates questions, good, bad. I'm not responsible. So is everyone ready for this week's question? No. Beep boop beep.
Calculating. Question found. What would you rather give up to a rival, Rafinha or Bielsa?
Right, whoever come up with that question, you're sacked. Sorry. Whoever, I don't care. Fix it. Sorry, Ger. We'll come at you first. It depends which rival.
Well, it does, yeah, doesn't it? Well, it's a rival, so it's not just any team. It has to be a rival. So it's one of lots of clubs we don't talk about. I just saw a memory on my Facebook today of Rafinha standing in his Leeds white kit, and it was from our first season back in the Premier League, and I had 38 points. Loved this man.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly there, and he's gone now. Rafa.
Yeah.
Rafa.
I don't think I could bear Bielsa going somewhere. Yeah. Evie, the modern day Sophie's choice. Who are you picking?
I have to agree. I just think that it would have killed me had we have seen Bielsa go to Bournemouth or Everton last year. If Rafinha went to Chelsea, it would have been awful. He would have scored against us, all of that. But I still would respect him because he still kept us up. He still gave us that chance. But if Bielsa went to a rival, if I saw him, you see him at Man U or you see him at Chelsea, it just breaks your heart because the players at Chelsea are just crap. And they just wouldn't buy into Bielsa. He's very humble. Can you imagine, Enzo Fernandez walking around picking litter up, or Conor Gallagher, or any of those? Like, can you imagine it? And you imagine Bruno Fernandes doing it either. It's just not going to happen.
Well, he'd be scurrying around with his teeth, like that.
He'd be in the rubbish, wouldn't he? Surely he's in the bin. Like, that's where he'd be.
Yeah.
His prime.
Yeah.
I see him behind the KFC skips all the time. But
it has to be Rafinha because I don't think Bielsa manages again in England.
Hopefully not.
Well, unless it's Leeds United.
Unless it's us
It
again,
break my
yes.
heart. Do you know what? Just to shock you, I could have lived with Rafa going to Chelsea. Nobody else. I could have lived with that. It would have hurt, but I could have lived with it. But Bielsa would have killed me. You know, it is what it is.
Seeing 12 people in a shed chanting for Bielsa down at Bournemouth would have broke my heart, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
he
when
deserved
you know,
that.
like, especially more than 12,000 local idiots.
Seasons.
Anyway, the cherry lovers. That brings us to the end of the short podcast this week. I would like to thank Ger and Evie for putting up with me. Obviously, Kev and James aren't here this week. They're busy playing Pokemon Go. I think they said that there were a Snorlax somewhere around the corner. You got to catch them all. Just for a moment of your time. If you could like and subscribe, we are nearly at 500, and once we get to 500, Kev said that he would do an Irish jig, which Ger is a fan of.
Can I judge it?
So you
Yes.
can judge it.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would be great.
Should we do it live? Should we do it
Yep.
live?
Yep. With
Yeah.
no
Right.
rehearsals
So-
at all.
So everyone, smash that like and subscribe, and if you want to be notified, click on that notification button. Thanks very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.